Welcome back all. In this video, we're gonna learn about local date time. In previous videos, we learned about local date and also about local time. Local date time is the combination of those two. As before, I have separated the methods that I'm gonna use here into four main sections. First one is the creation, how to create them. Next is plus or minus, how to add and how to subtract days and months and time from local date time. Next, how do we do checks, and finally the constants that we can use. I'll start with the creation. How do we create a local date time? Just like the local date and the local time, we have four main methods, four main ways to create local date time. First one is to use the .now method. Local date time, let me name it as local date time now equals local date time dot now will produce the local date time, the current local date time of the computer. So if I'm gonna print it, the date is in the format of local date, the time is also in the format of local time, and both these are concatenated using capital T. Okay, that is the first way. Next way is to use the off method. Local date time equals local date time dot off. This off has 7 implementations. You can have a local date and a local time to create the local date time. Also, you can have the year, month, day of month, and again for the time part, hour, minute, second. Then you can go with year, month in the form of month. Likewise, you can have certain ways to create local date time by using the off method. So I'll use local date time. I'll use local date dot now to create the local date part of local date time. Next, local time dot now to create the time part of the local date time. This is just one way to create local date time. If I run this will create the local date, the current local date time. Another way to create a local date time off, local date time dot off, by giving out all the parameters. Year 2020, month let's say 9, date is 12th. Next, the hour 10 a.m, 45 minutes passed, then the seconds 45 seconds, and also the nanoseconds. You can use this way to create a local date time by using the off method. So in this way, the month is given as an integer. You can also use the month that is provided by the Java time package, month dot August, April, start from January to December. You can use this as well. So in this case, parameter is the type of month. Also, you don't have to use seconds and nanos. I'll remove the seconds and nanoseconds. I'll keep the local date time to the year, month, day of the month, then the hour and the minute. So if I'm going to print this out, the result will be something like this. Next, we have the pass method. Date time pass time dot pass, and in this case we need to give a character sequence. So let me copy this character sequence and do a change. So let me make it 8 and date to be 15. Separate the date, local date, by a T and the time. So let me change this to 12. Local date time pass. Okay, now we have another local date time which we created by using the pass method. So that is all about local date time, the creation part. Then we move on to the plus minus part. Just like the local date and the local time, we can add and minimize days up to days starting from years to the time up to nanoseconds. So I'll use this local date time and I'll use the plus method to add 2 days to the date. So I'm going to add 2, and the unit I'll use chrono unit, and use dates. Print this out. I added 2 days to the today's date. Today is 9th, local date time. Today is 9th. Or let me change this to local date time off, so you will off, so you know the date exactly. So the date is July 12th, result should be July 14th. Okay, and also we can use local date time off dot minus, I'll subtract 2 years from the local date time, chrono unit dot years, 2 years subtracted, so the result is 2018. Likewise, we have local date time off. We have straightforward methods like plus days, hours, minutes, months, nanoseconds, weeks and years. And also we got minus, years, minutes, days, hours, months, nanos, seconds and weeks. So likewise we can use any of these methods to manipulate the date time. I'll use one method like months, and I'll print out the result. Subtracted for 4 months, so the result is March. Okay, that is it for the plus minus section. Let's move on to the checks section. Basically we have 3 main checks. First one is to check whether is the local date time is equal. Next, to check whether is the local date time is after. Finally we have local date time is before method to check these local date times. So I'll use local date time dot off dot is equal, I'll create another local date time. I'll change this one to equate the local date time off, so we can check the dates whether those two are equal. So I'll check whether local date time off is equal to local date time pass. I'll print the result, and this should return true since the dates are equal, and we are getting true. Next, local date time dot is before. I'll check whether the local date time is before the local date time off. Okay, local date time is the current time, which is August 9th 11:31 p.m. and local date time off is, it's in July, so local date time is not before local date time off, so this should be false, and it is false. I will use the same method. Local date time is after local date time off, and this will print the result as true since the current time is after the local date time off. Right, so we covered the checks part as well. So finally we move on to the constants. We have 2 constants that we can use, local date time dot max, print that out, and also local date time dot min, and print that out as well. We got the max and the min dates we can use as the constants, and the result will be something like this. Okay, we have covered everything about local date time. Since we have covered local date and local time before, there's nothing new in this local date time because it is the concatenation of local date and the local time. So that is it for local date and time. See you in the next video.